Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at this limited edition of the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 300. This is a limited edition for the Christopher Ward Aficionados Facebook group. My friend Craig loaned this in. Really appreciate the watch loan. The dial on this thing is very cool. Unlike any other dial I have seen on any other watch. It's what they call a matte sunburst dial, and I think that fits. It's hard to explain. Hopefully you can see it on your end of the screen there. So the full name is the Christopher Ward Aficionados Limited Edition C60 Trident Pro 300 Solaris. Price for this watch was or is 850 Great Britain pounds. I don't know if you can still get this one or not. Did a little bit of research. There's 40 of them that were made. I saw a list of people that have signed up for it. It was 34 people on that list, so I don't know if there's still 6 available. But if you want, I can send you that information if you want. Just send me an email and I'll give you a link to the website I found. So 850 Great Britain pounds as of the time of recording is about 1,056 US dollars. And the price for the non-limited version of this watch is 1,095 US dollars. This one is 42 millimeter. I saw that they have a 40 and a 38. And there's another size because I read that there's 4 different case sizes. But this one is the 42. So let's zoom in here. You do have a sapphire crystal with AR coating applied, as you would expect. Again, this is a matte sunray dial, and I really like the pop of blue that's on here. See right above the date, you have a 300 meter in blue, and then at the tip of that second hand there, with a smooth sweep, 8 beats per second. And the indices are applied, and they do have X1, C1 lume, as well as the hands. And then you can see it does have the printed twin flag logo there. I know it seems like whatever logo they go with, someone complains about the logo, but I don't mind this logo. I do have a Christopher Ward on today, and that just has Christopher Ward printed right below the 12 o'clock there. At one point in time, they had it here at the 9. Way back in the day, they just had CHR Ward, which was kind of weird. So they've gone through quite a few different iterations. But anyway, this one here has the twin flag logo. And you can see that Trident second hand. Very cool. I do appreciate that touch. And again, that's on this watch as well here. So the movement is a Solaris SW200-1, and on most of these watches, they have a display case back, but this one does not, because again, this is a limited edition, and it says right on here, 2023, hopefully you can see that, 2023 limited edition. Again, CW, I have a hard time with that word, aficionados, I think that's how you pronounce it. Not a word I use on a daily basis, or ever, really. And this one is number 34 of 40. And I guess you could have personalized this. You had an option to have some personalized engraving on here. So Craig didn't choose to do that, looks like. Or maybe that didn't end up being an option. I could be reading some things out of date. But anyway, 30 ATM, stainless steel, and then Swiss made. This is a ceramic bezel insert. I'm not sure if it's lume, but we'll find that out together at the end of the video here. Again, so the movement Solaris SW200-1 rated to plus minus 20 seconds per day, 38-hour power reserve, and 8 beats per second. This is the light catcher, 42 millimeter case, 316L stainless steel. It's very thin, especially considering it's rated to 300 meters water resistance. It's 11.6 millimeter thin. You do have a screw down signed crown, again with that twin flag logo. So the bracelet is very nice on this watch. We have quick release pins there, quick release spring bar, whatever you want to call it. A solid end link, solid links here, and these are fixed in place by screw pins. I have not sized this watch, resized it. I have not worn it that much. I definitely don't want to scratch this or ding this in. How it's a limited edition. It's not like I can go buy him a new watch. So we do have a milled clasp, on the fly adjustment. This portion here is milled, and the way this works is there's a lever in here and it shows a little arrow which way to press the lever. So push it this way, then you can pull it out, and then you have to depress this lever again to push it back in, just like that. So very neat system. Dual pushers, which I appreciate. I really don't care for the safety clasp. Dual pushers are perfectly fine for my use. I guess if I were actually to be a diver, you know, maybe I wouldn't want the safety clasp, but dual pushers is perfectly fine for me. So let's talk about the dimensions, and then I'll compare it briefly to the other Christopher Ward on my wrist. So tip to tip on the male end links, 54 millimeter, but it does taper down quite nicely, and you'll see it wears pretty well on my wrist, but I think it's a little bit large for my preference. Anyway, 54 millimeter tip to tip here, and then from here to here we're at 49 millimeter. So if you were to put it on a strap, that would be the lug to lug case you'd be dealing with. Again, 42 millimeter diameter. Bezel action, you know, the bezel action on this is very nice. I guess there's a little bit of back play, but it's the way it clicks is very nice. It doesn't move. It just feels like a very nice bezel action. And you can see here it has this inner ring which does not rotate, and that does have the hash marks on there. I have not seen that in any other watch before, so that's pretty neat. You see the hour and minute hand here. I guess I would call those sword hands. Almost looks like a tip of a spear, which you know, makes sense with the trident there, I guess. Okay, thickness, as I mentioned before, 11.6 millimeter thick. The bracelet, again, is very nice. 22 millimeter lug width, and it tapers down to 16.5. That's a very nice amount of taper. Actually, that's I think the same amount of taper that I have on my Submariner. I believe my Submariner goes from 21 to 16.5, or maybe 21 to 15.5, but a very nice amount of taper. I was expecting, when I measured this, I was expecting it to go down to 18, 22 to 18, but no, it goes down to 16.5. And then the width of the clasp here is 18.6, which is again nice and thin. 6.9 millimeter crown, and size for Craig's wrist, which I believe is 7.5. It weighs in at 166 grams. So let me compare it to my Christopher Ward real quick. This has the older clasp and bracelet. This is held in place with pin and collar. Kind of a bummer. Actually, the guy I bought this from, he sized it. I don't think I resized it. I should actually tighten up a little bit, but I don't want to mess with it. So anyway, you see the clasp on this one's a little bit thicker. This one's a little bit longer. And the links look to be a little bit taller on this one, so it should be easier to get a better fit with this. And this does have a half link. So, very nice. And this on the fly clasp works a little bit differently. You have to push it forward to pull it out, but then you can just push it in. But actually this looks like it has less micro adjust. So let's see here. Yeah, I would say the newer one has a little bit more. I don't know how to show this on camera without touching the watches together. So maybe 1 or 2 more micro adjusts on the new one. So let me get this on wrist, and then we'll check out the loom. I'll zoom out here in a second, but you can see it's nice and thin, but I think it's just a little bit big for my wrist. Again, this dial is amazing. Never seen anything like this before. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and it really does help me out with the channel here. Amazing amount of taper. I'm sure this thing is super comfortable on wrist. All right, let's take a look at the loom. Actually, you know what, compared to my SKX side by side here. It's very legible too. You would think with the lighter color dial it wouldn't be as legible, but I had no problem with this watch. Actually, looks like, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell with the lighting, but I believe those hands are blackened. It certainly looks like they are. Yeah, I'm gonna say those hands are blackened. Sorry, you can't see what I was doing there. There we go. All right, let's check out the loom. Well, certainly have plenty of loom on the Christopher Ward here. You can see the bezel is loomed. Hands and indices are loomed as well, as you would expect. You know, I would say by eye, the SKX, it's a little bit brighter. It's kind of hard to tell because it's the greenish loom versus the bluish loom. Nothing to complain about here. I mean, I think the loom is perfectly fine on the Christopher Ward. So that will conclude this video. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for watching.